Yeah, John 17:5. Now, Father, glorify me. This is Yeshua talking. Glorify me together with yourself, with the glory which I had with you before the world was. So, couple, there's a verb there. He had glory. He was with the Father. This has to imply that he was existing with the Father, just like First Enoch just said. He was existing with the Father before the world was. John 17:24 goes on, for you loved me, Yeshua says to the Father, you loved me before the foundation of the world. And in 1 Peter 1, verse 20, for he was foreknown before the foundation of the world, but has appeared in these last times for the sake of you. So, that last verse kind of does away with the idea that he was appearing before the last times.
Yeah, there's that whole crowd as well that says he's like, just every time you see the mention of an angel or God in the Old Testament, it must be Yeshua.
Right. We would say there's angels
that
working
in the storyline from Yeshua.
There you go. Yep. And we'll see another verse here from Enoch talking about how he was concealed, but definitely around before the world was, and the foundation of the world, from everything I gather.
This is Micah 5:2. But you, Bethlehem, Ephrathah, though you are little among the thousands of Judah, yet out of you shall come forth to me the one to be ruler in Israel, whose going forth are from of old, from everlasting.
Okay, that's how it says it in the Masoretic. That's the New King James there. But I found it to be a little more interesting and a little more specific in the Septuagint. He says, and you, O Bethlehem, house of Ephrathah, you are very small to be in the thousands of Judah, from which for me one will come out to me to be a ruler of Israel. So we got a ruler separate from the Father, but a ruler to the Father. And his goings out are from the beginnings, from the days of eternity.
Amen. Hallelujah.
From the very beginning, huh? Firstborn of all creation.
Did you mention this in that roundtable discussion, brother?
We did not.
Okay.
We did not remember this one.
Yeah, I didn't remember this one either. But I was just trying to let everybody have some time to speak,
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, there was a lot we didn't get to. And
I was depending on you to drop the hammers.
Yeah. I brought the slides. I didn't want to make too many slides. So yeah, it's another good one to add to the pre-existence.
For sure.
What does he say about coming down from heaven?
Yeah, we've got some directional language expressing to us where this ruler descended from, who's called the Son of Man. John 3:13, no one has descended into heaven, but he who descended from heaven, the Son of Man. John 6:38, for I have come down from heaven. If we could put that on a bumper sticker and shout it to the world, for I have come down from heaven, both from a cosmological sense of directional, right, up and down. He's come down from heaven. Heaven above is where the Father and the angels live in a cosmological model called the firmament model. It's the creation model. They live above us. This is not some weird space coordinates where he's coming from, the North Star or something in a weird heliocentric, unverifiable model. This is from a biblical creation model where the Father and the angels have always been said to live above us in the firmament levels above us. So it makes sense that he would tell people, because he doesn't lie, I have come down from heaven.
There you go. Yep. Up, down, left, right, from A, B, B, A.
It's simple, right? John 6:51, I'm the living bread that came down out of heaven.
There you go. Yep. Just like if you were going to use those cheat codes on the video game and you had to go up, down, left, right, ABBA, whatever, you would trust that. Well, you can trust these words even more, especially when he uses these directional terms that are specific like this. It means something.
Yeah.
Words mean things. Here was a slide I'd recommend anybody, if you're trying to study this more or trying to show somebody else who might disagree with this concept of pre-existence or Yeshua existing in heaven with the Father before he came in the flesh, before he was born of a virgin. I'd recommend checking out all these verses, because over and over and over again, from Matthew 10:40 to John 20:21, and this isn't even all of them, but lots of verses where he's saying he was sent from heaven by the Father, sent by the Father. And you can't send somebody if they didn't exist to be sent. You'd have to create them first, and so
that's the way it works. That's the common reading of the language, the common grammar, and I just wish sometimes we would just go with what's said. John 6:62 says, "What then if you see the Son of Man ascending to where he was before?"
Ascending to where he was before. So he was before, and where was he? Well, he'd have to ascend to get there. And based on the context of everything else that's been said, it was heaven is where he was before. And he's going to ascend there again because he was there before that.
That's right.
He's going to go again. So
I just want to compliment you on this slide. I see how you repurposed our brother Eric's sketchings here.
Yeah,
to create this. That's great.
Shout out Rock. Much love Eric Rice, who has helped us with a lot of those kind of little diagrams and
Nice.
hooked me up for some memes for sure. But so this concept here of Yeshua ascending through the firmaments of heaven, right? Genesis 1:8. We talked about this episode 1. Heaven is the name given to the firmament. Sean's already brought up and reminded you guys we're going off of the basis and the foundation of a creation model that's flat, geocentric, stationary, and enclosed in levels of domed, solid structures called the firmaments of heaven. Man, so many episodes. I want to make sure y'all have been seeing Bobby Thorns. Check out episode 1 of Uncommon Ground, the very first episode we did, Sky's the Limit. You'll understand more about the multi-layered firmament model. Guys, make sure you checked out episode 24, Thy Kingdom Come. Talk about that place he goes to prepare for us, the house with many mansions. Check out episode 26, where you're going to learn more about the temples and how the temple on earth was a copy of the one in heaven, and how there's angels that have been priests there. So much to go over that we're not going to have time to recap tonight, but we'll add this to that. Yeah, so this is something I found from something you presented before. 2nd century AD, we had Irenaeus. Irenaeus is the disciple of Polycarp, direct disciple of a man named Polycarp, who Polycarp was the direct disciple of the Apostle John, the apostle of Yeshua. And he has this to say. So in his 2nd century writings and epistles that he wrote back and forth with some churches and some friends, he said, "Blessed is he who was before he became man." And Irenaeus attributes this to Jeremiah. However, when we go to try to search this phrase up and type those keywords in the search bar, you're not going to find this in any currently available Masoretic or Septuagint manuscripts of Jeremiah.
Yep.
But it's referring to Yeshua. Blessed is he who was before he came man. How about that?
Yeah, now this one I did want to bring up during that roundtable we had, but I was like, it's going to take too much setup to explain, and it may not be accepted in any way by the
that's all right.
But it's a powerful one, man, because we got a 2nd century bishop in Lyons whom is highly attested, highly credible, and he's in the same vein of Justin Martyr, saying that the Septuagint of that day was being changed and altered by the Pharisees of that day, and to try to hide Yeshua. And here's one of the quotes that he's referencing, that in his day, in the 2nd century AD, Irenaeus has a Septuagint that he's reading from and teaching other new converts into the faith from, which has the book of Jeremiah making this statement, and that has been now forever altered in our scriptures. So that's it's just, man, this is an amazing claim and testament by this 2nd century bishop Irenaeus.
It really is. Yeah, if only we had all that was available to this guy.
So then we must believe God in all things, for in all things God is true. Now that there was a Son of God, and that he existed not only before he appeared in the world, but also before the world was made. Moses, who was the first that prophesied, says in Hebrew, Barashit bara Elohim, Basan Benewam Samatiers. Sorry, guys, if you speak Hebrew, I did not do that right. And this, translated into our language, says, the Son is the beginning, God established, then the heaven and the earth.
Right. So whereas, it says in the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth, in most of our modern Bibles, Irenaeus says that Moses originally wrote the Son in the beginning, God established, then the heaven and the earth. Wouldn't that be something if Genesis 1:1 said this? Irenaeus said it does. It did. It's supposed to.
He said that's what the Hebrews translated as. I mean, and if you understand the progression or the go lightly from using this word, but the evolution of the language of Hebrew from Paleo to the Aramaic versions to what we have in modern Hebrew, there's a lot of discrepancy on how things are translated.
There is. That's right. Yeah, we know that things can be lost in translation from one language to the other. There's nuances. There's just different thematic themes in words, depending on the language you're using, that you don't always have in the modern cultural understandings. And so there's that. And unfortunately, even Enoch, 7th from Adam, prophesied that there would be those who would do iniquity and work wickedness on perverting the scriptures if they didn't translate it word for word into the languages. So it might be a new concept to some of our viewers, but if you haven't already, definitely recommend checking out some of Sean's work on the Septuagint, like the presentation I mentioned a couple times, and maybe we'll make it a little more clear for you as the slides go on.
Yeah. Awesome.